As somebody who is recently sort of started playing Limbus, and what I mean by that is actually started like a couple of months ago, did Canto 1, really started enjoying it, and then just got bogged down with other stuff. But I've recently got back in, and we're going through Canto 2 at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. I think Limbus is genuinely a little gem. The story, the characters, the voice acting, the art direction, and I'm starting to learn a little bit more about the combat, which I'm liking what I've seen so far. Even though it's considered one of the weak points of the game, I actually quite like it. So with that being said, I want to start learning more about the game, getting the idea, maybe looking at the lore, maybe understanding stuff about the world, because there's a lot of characters tied to books and literature and a bunch of other stuff as well, which I want to learn more about as well. But I thought today we'd start off with this video from Mr. Feet. I played one of the best gacha games ever made, and you should too. Limbus Company. We're going to drop a preemptive like. This video popped off 500,000 motherfucking views, which is crazy. So let's get into it then, shall we? Let's have a look, see what it's got to say. I'm looking forward to it.
Good gacha game can easily be seen as a bit of an oxymoron. These games don't really have the best reputation for various reasons. Whether it be players perceiving...
You almost feel bad sometimes, aren't you, when you say, it's good, and then you have to add that, for a gacha game.
it as a rip-off of a popular game, gooner bait, low-quality slop, or, most notably, a predatory way to drain money away from consumers. So, what makes a good gacha game, then? How about one that actively hates money?
Hold up. What did I say? The words good and gacha game go together like femboys and foot jobs. They are satisfying, but man, they are hard to find nowadays. Fuck. Okay.
A good gacha game, then. How about one that actively hates money?
You can have it. Say thanks!
No! This is Limbus Company, a turn-based RPG with more RNG built into the gameplay than its own gacha system that also happens to have one of the best stories I've ever seen in any media, period. There is
so far, I'm really enjoying the story.
Game, aside from Roblox,
I will say as well, Canto 2 compared to Canto 1 is such a switch. You know, you're going from this really dark, horrific space that you start off in, right, into like body horror and death, and it's really morbid, and then we've gone into this area that's still incredibly weird, right, because it's a weird and wonderful and dark world, but it's just so much more light-hearted. It's such a switch, and I say light-hearted, a lot of other games probably wouldn't see it so light-hearted, but I've really been enjoying Canto 2 as well. I have personally, especially when Ryoshu sat down just to start swearing at people, and the dudes are even taking notes, like, damn, she's a professional insulter. I love that bit.
YouTube videos calling this the best gacha you've never heard about, and this is no exception to that. This is one of the few pieces of media that I've consumed in my life that has actually gotten me close to crying, and it's because of this game's beautifully crafted stories.
I do think it's got good writing as well.
Interesting gameplay. But today, I hope to tell you all about this wonderful...
Obviously you got story, but the writing so far has been decent as well. I found it really enjoyable.
Game that has taken up over 200 hours of my life this year, and to explain why I believe this is one of, if not the best gacha games that you can play right now.
Ooh, big statement. I think a lot of people would agree with. Obviously, my favorite gacha game and what I think is the best gacha game personally is Arknights. So I'm curious to see if like the game can, you know, be up there in my consideration of, like, because at the minute, like, I'd say the 3 best gacha games I've probably played. Well, let's say 4. It's Arknights, it's Wua, it's Enfield, and I've got to throw Reverse 1999 in there because I just really like the game. But so far, it's pretty good, man. We probably need to watch some character trailers and stuff, don't we? Limbus Company gameplay is too weak compared to Arknights. Arknights is just like not even just gacha games, it's gameplay. Obviously, you've got to be into that kind of gameplay, but it's incredible, isn't it? I believe in the Limbus story, you will enjoy it. I hope so.
Getting attacked by the lion, only for said lion to then get hit by a wild bus. Ever since the fire trucks came out, this type of violence has been much more common. This clock person is Dante, the main protagonist of the game, who is currently having amnesia, and you know that makes sense because their head got surgically replaced with a clock. I am just going to say this right now. Dante is the best protagonist out of any gacha game, period, and by far the...
Ooh. I'll be interested to see, because I actually do like the way he's written, actually. He does have some good sayings. He's quite relatable in the way he reacts to situations as well, I must admit. Also, his power's quite cool. But for me, at the moment, Bell from Zenless Zone Zero is still my favourite protagonist in a gacha game. Obviously, some stuff that's happened with Arknights recently has really bumped the Doctor up in my estimation as well. But yeah, I still stand by Bell. And maybe Silver Palace might do a really good job with their main character. But so far as well, I must admit, I think there's some serious potential. Obviously, I need to see more, right?
Now, I am not the biggest fan of amnesia tropes and narratives. It is way overdone in my opinion, especially for gachas. However, this is one of the few exceptions that not only does it well, but fucking excels at it. And I'll be honest, I don't like too many gacha MCs, so when I'm given the role of some epic character who's done a lot of things in the past, but they have amnesia now, or someone that is universally loved and is amazing at everything, my thoughts are just...
See, I don't know how WooP players can actually try and argue against that. Even like people who, you can still love the game, don't make it a bad game, can't accept the Rover is the Rizzler. They are loved by one and all, right? It's just how it is. There's a worry that our little penguin here, our little gremlin, is going to potentially end up falling into that place as well, because it's sort of there, not quite to that degree, but it is my biggest worry with Enfield, actually. It genuinely is. I think, I am positive and hopeful that they're going to make the story better. I worry for the administrator, though. I do. I honestly do.
Oh, okay.
Which is why Dante is so refreshing, because this feels like a real character. Dante
I must
has
admit,
the
he's quite
foundation
relatable.
of a
Does feel like a real
generic
person.
self-insert MC. But the amnesia works here because this is the third game in a trilogy. So if Limbus is your first game, then you're in the same shoes as Dante. And if it's not your first game in the Project Moon world, it still works because Limbus goes beyond the first two games. But what puts Dante into the stratosphere is that their character is not defined by their amnesia. Yes, they lost their memories, but Dante has goals. They talk a lot. They make mistakes, and they learn just as we do. They feel like a real person. And it is so nice to play a gacha game where everyone around you doesn't do tricks on it. Oh my god.
This clip of Smackman still gets me. It's true though, right? Like, I know some people want like the master love experience and they want the self-insert and to feel like everybody loves them, but it's boring. I've said this before, man. You want some depth to an MC, right? You want some growth. And with that, you need to have trials and tribulations, not just against the enemy, but you have to have growth within the characters that are around you. And it makes not only the MC feel more real, but the characters feel more real when sometimes people just don't connect in that way, right? And it's just boring when everybody's like, oh, you're that guy. Yeah, we're best friends already. You're amazing. I love you. You're great.
You don't have a harem in this game. These people are not your friends to start out with, and you do not have a singular traveling companion to tell you everything. You have 12 employees that just see you as a boss. You get one meat writer, one, and she only acts like this once she finds out you're the boss. If your title was literally anything different, she would not give a fuck about you. The cast of Limbus Company is such a breath of fresh air. These characters are all unique and have their own personalities and identities. Project Moon fans,
they're all mental as well, really.
Right, these
like,
are the 12 sinners,
it's a great point just in Kanto 2, right? Because you've got a mission. I'm not going to spoil it in case there's people who haven't got to that point in the game or whatever, or just haven't played the game, but it's not a major spoiler. But you've got a mission to do, and it's just like all hell breaks loose because nobody's listening. The MC messes up himself because he's like, ooh, gambling, you know. You've got one character who's literally like, I ain't even going undercover. Fuck this shit. It's just, you've got this crazy cast of like idiots sometimes, but are all incredibly capable at the same time in their own ways. And it just works, right? It's like a cast of kooky people all together.
What make Limbus Company. But we'll talk more about them in a minute because right now they are here to fight for us. But just because they'll fight for us, that doesn't mean they'll win. Yes, as we are on the brink of death, our 12 heroes jumped out of the bus just so they could also get their asses kicked.
Yeah.
However, what makes this cast of characters special is that they are linked to us. Dante is the ultimate empath. We can wind our clock back and feel that pain too. How far does this pain go, you might be wondering? Well, it extends to death. Now, one would think that upon seeing a power like this, most people would be more considerate and more careful careful around their surroundings so as to not hurt the one person capable
Nah, they don't
of
give a
defying
damn.
nature.
They're just like,
This is
hey,
how our cast
you
reacts.
can fix us.
Well, these claws ain't for just attracting mates. Bring it on, old man. Bring it on.
Wait. I know tensions are high.
It's true though, isn't he? They're just like, well, he can fix us. It's all right.
These creatures represent all different sides of the autism
What the
spectrum
fuck?
and are based on important figures surrounding literature. We've got Yisang, a depressed nerd who likes to spam his vocal stem.
Does anyone know someone who can help us? Anybody? Anybody at all? I know someone who
Yeah, bro's an emo.
If you say you're fired. Get out!
Faust, a being who appears to be nearly omniscient and acts like Grok for most of the journey. Don Quixote, arguably the poster child of Limbus Company, and is currently hyperfixated with tales of heroism and will not shut the fuck up about it. Ryoshu, a violent, insane psychopath who speaks primarily with acronyms.
She's my girl.
Your bitch ass up.
Marceau,
She's my
the
girl.
unintentionally funniest character in this game. Bro straight up punches a woman to avoid a citywide conflict. Honglu, the most beautiful man with homophobia you've ever seen, and is also equipped with a nice smile. That's all there is to him. Heathcliff, the most stable British person you'll ever meet in your life. Ishmael, probably the most rational and normal person aside from all of the trauma. Rodian, a charismatic, charming woman who instead of spending her time on the basketball courts, chooses to indulge in a bit of gambling. Sinclair, someone
Damn,
that
she's
can
6 foot.
easily be interpreted as a little bitch until you step back and realize, no, wait, everyone around him is actually just insane. Otis, a war veteran who is a D1
Sinclair's got the
writer for
moves, though, innit
authority.
he?
And finally, we have Gregor, potential man himself, who is a war veteran that hasn't fully recovered from their past, but overall, they're a pretty chill guy. That covers the playable
Not gonna lie,
cast,
the body
but we're also
horror in
joined
his,
on the bus by its
story
driver,
got
Charon,
me. I was
and
just
our
like,
guide, Virgilius.
damn.
Charon is the cute little mascot driver that operates the man-eating bus, and Virgilius is our tour guide who is about as useful as a knitted condom. Virgil is here to aura farm, call us an idiot, and tell us what to do. This is
He's got
just
some
a
seriously
very
tight
brief
trousers on
description
as
of
well.
what these characters are like at a first glance, but trust me, there is so much more than what I've let on about. We are in charge of this group of chuckle fucks, and our journey is about going through the different districts of the city so we can obtain
I'm
the
excited
golden
to
bows.
continue this
Now,
game.
what is a golden bow, you might ask? Well, they are branches. That's what we call stems growing from the trunk of a tree.
Golden
These
berries
ones
in it.
happen to have a golden glow to them. You think I'm being a smartass by saying this when all I'm doing is quoting Virgilius? I told you these people do not fuck with you like that. Hope you don't mind if a white boy speaks a little Italian, but this game's story is divided into cantos. Each canto has two narrative purposes. The first being to find and obtain the golden bows, since the higher-ups at Limbus Company want them for some undisclosed reason. The other purpose being to develop the sinners and learn about their stories. This right here. This is what makes the game so incredible. These characters are more than just an excuse to grab monies from consumers, and this is what separates Limbus Company from other gachas. When gachas design characters, it can very clearly feel like they made certain units with only one goal in mind. But in Limbus Company, you are still
True. It's one of the biggest negatives to storytelling, right? Understand it, but I wish more games would figure out how to sell units without shoehorning them into the story. Give cool events around the character and stuff, man. Because it is one of the major things that really negatively affects storytelling in gacha games, isn't it?
stuck with these 12 characters for the entire journey. All 12 of them are with you, and each of them have their own stories to go through independent of just finding a cool stick. These stories are dark. They talk about some pretty mature themes. War trauma, overcoming your past, nihilism, coming to terms with reality, and so much more. There is a reason why this game is rated M. Just look at what shows up on the loading screen. This looks like a Twitter user's DNI list. These characters have seen some shit.
Oh, so when you do it on Twitch as well, it puts it into the mature category.
Appeals to this game. These don't feel like characters designed for a video game to make money. These feel like characters written for a story. Yes, they are using the visual novel format to convey the narrative, so you get situations where the writing is really intense and emotional, but the character's sprite just looks like this. The writing and dialogue in this game doesn't treat you like a child. They trust that you can read, and they don't waste your time with bloated, incessant talking. Nearly every bit of dialogue
I actually do really like that about this, because, like, big Arknights fan, love the story, love the world. I really like the storytelling, but it does have issues sometimes with a bit of bloat. Like, sometimes it feels like some stuff goes on a little bit too long, right? Like, it feels like they have to get a little bit too wordy, almost to the point where I think sometimes it's a little bit of a detriment to the pacing of the story. It's not all the time, but it does happen sometimes. You know, tends to be on a couple of chapters as well towards the end, where it's just like, I feel like we could have cut it off a couple of scenes ago here, or condensed some of those. That's probably one of my biggest critiques when it comes to Arknights. Now, I love the scope of it, right, and I love the vastness of it, and sometimes that like word count is amazing because you get so much, but sometimes it's like just a bit too much. you know? Where definitely so far in this, one, being voice acted usually tends to condense things down a little bit, but like even when Dante's doing his inner monologues and stuff, like it just feels a lot more condensed and it doesn't drag on, does it? It really it's paced quite well so far, at least so far anyway.
Has a purpose in this game to either strengthen character interactions or the world. And they've got some straight heat in this game.
Voice acting's amazing as well.
Learning this game's world and characters is one of the best recent gaming experiences I've had, and it's one that I dare not spoil here because I do not want to take this away from anyone. This game is anything but predictable when it's come to its stories. These sinners don't always get their character arcs resolved at the end of Kantos. The team doesn't always get the golden bow, and there isn't always a happy ending where everyone sings Kumbaya and has a dance party. No, there is no formula for the story aside from depression.
I'm happy to hear that as well, because we need more of that as well. We need more of that, because too much of that is the thing in gacha games, right? You know, no matter what happens, the end of this story, even if there's some learn some new stuff, we're gonna solve the problem, right? The episode will be finished. We'll solve the problem. We'll all be chatting at the end of the episode, having a laugh. We'll solve the issue basically. We'll have saved the day. Everybody will love us, and then we'll go do it again. Now we'll get this story that expands, but it's like going back to something like Wuthering Waves, where I started to rapidly get bored with it, even though it's not the most interesting story anyway, just because that's how it is. You might start to learn more, right? Oh, okay. Oh, we've learned that about Rover a little bit now, and oh, we've learned this about the world, and this new character's coming, and that's cool, and there's some cool factions and all that sort of stuff, but it all kind of amounts to nothing, because it's just like, we just go from here, do the thing, we go to here, we do the thing, we go to here, we do the thing, character pops up, disappears, character pops up, disappears, where at least so far with this, it definitely doesn't feel like that. I think Arknights does a good job of that as well anyway, right? Because there is stuff that just doesn't go the way you think it's going to go as well. And there's some incredible moments of like, oh shit, you know, revelations and stuff as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more of that in this game also as well. The counter-side of that will be people will whine that stuff isn't explained, or they are pulling something out of their ass down to the line, so I usually feel the long exposition is justified. I don't know, that's the thing, when it comes to story and stuff like that, that's all subjective. I do think sometimes of Arknights, sometimes it is justified, that's why I said it's not always like that. Sometimes it hits, but I do think sometimes I'm like, we could have done with a few, that conversation really didn't need to happen or go on for as long as it did. And it doesn't have that satisfying hit for me sometimes. It's like it just drags the pace out just a little bit too much. That's not saying that the storytelling's bad at all. I just think sometimes it feels like it's got a bit of a pacing issue. Not always winning is such a big thing in these games. They're so afraid to do. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's because I think a lot of them want to make it the self-insert. You are the guy, right? And if you are the guy and you lose, then do you feel bad about yourself? I think they're worried about these risks, aren't they? When people who want good storytelling don't care about that stuff. You know, they want just good storytelling. Like this childlike treatment sometimes quite frustrating for me. That's why, again, I would be happy to see all gacha games become mature, become 18. Just one, because of the gacha, because kids really shouldn't be involved with it. And then we could have stories a little bit more catered towards the audience.
That's what makes those happy moments in the story mean so much more. If we get a golden bow on Kanto X, but not on Kanto YZ, then that one on Kanto X means more. And I know I said that I wouldn't spoil this story, then proceeded to reveal that we don't always get the golden bows, but I think that most Limbus fans would agree that this revelation is not what you are going to remember the story for. Kanto 1 is not about whether or not we get the golden bow. It's about Gregor and the trauma he went through and his failures. Kanto 5 is about getting direction in life. Kanto 7 is about escapism and the harms that it can bring. Yes, the golden bows are important, but that's not what these Kantos are about.
I'm looking forward to that then, actually.
For the characters, and these characters actively change, learn, and grow throughout the story. Yi-Sang is not the same person after Kanto 4. Prior to Kanto 4, I didn't give a fuck about this guy, if I'm being honest. He was just some dude that would pop up every now and then spam his voice line. But after Kanto 4,
be super emo.
He might be the GOAT.
Like him and don't like him is nothing you could do about him because he's number one. Whether you like him or don't like him is nothing you can do about him.
That as well, that for me is when you've got good character development and good storytelling. It's one of the things, obviously I know the show's different from the books, and we all know, well, if you don't, it ended diabolically bad. But it was one of the things I loved about Game of Thrones as a TV show, right? Where you went from hating characters to feeling for them, to connecting with them, to starting to liking them, and then going back to hating them, or having characters you started off, oh man, this is a cool character, to being like, actually, fuck this guy. That's great when you've got long overarching stories that go on for a while, right? That's when you've got good character development, when you can go from disliking to liking a character genuinely as well. Not just that, oh, he aura farm, so that was pretty cool, but genuinely, okay, I'm not a massive fan of this character. And then you conclude something, you're like, damn, fuck, okay, that was actually really well done. We don't get enough of that in these games as well. Typically, it'll be, oh, they seem a little bit mysterious. And it's like, oh, okay, they're actually pretty chill. That's usually about as far as it goes in a lot of these games, right?
Because he's number one.
There is so much more I could tell you about the narrative of this game, but I cannot in good conscience do that because I do not want to spoil this for you. The only thing I will say is that if you are considering giving this game a shot, I would recommend finishing up to Kanto 3. Kanto 1 is probably the best introductory story I've seen in a gacha, but it does have some problems. Kanto 2
Ooh. You know what? See, like, I really like the start of Arknights. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I was hooked on the premise and I was intrigued. Kanto 1, when I think about it, I suppose so far when I've been playing Limbus, it feels more like I've been treating it like a double-A indie sort of game that you get on Steam. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I haven't really looked at the story in the same way, but that when I think about it, when I do compare it to 1.0s in gacha games, probably, yeah, it is pretty good. The only other thing for me that compares is Arknights, personally. I thought the start to Zenless was pretty decent for me as well. Yeah, actually, yeah. All right, yeah. When I think about it in that context, it is pretty fucking fire. The body horror stuff caught me off guard as well. It really did.
is widely regarded as the weakest one in the game. But
okay, people have said that to me as well.
6 out of 10, I would say. And Kanto 3 is
I'm
really
enjoying it so.
planted with how they format their stories. These 3 Kantos are the best way to view if you'll be hooked by Limbus Company, because they set the foundation. Kanto 1 has dark themes and graphic imagery, while Kanto 2 is more lighthearted and has plenty of character interactions between most members.
That right there, Ryoshu, my favourite scene.
While Kanto 2
Rosie had taking notes on her insults, right? It was brilliant. Just the whole scene, the way everybody's looking around, it was perfect. Look at Dante as well. It's great.
Was more lighthearted and has plenty of character interactions between most members of the cast. Kanto 3 is a perfect blend of these two in my opinion, which is why I think completing the first 3 stories is the perfect benchmark for whether you should play this game or not. When it comes to stories
in all angles, almost.
There is a very clear difference between this is good and this is good for a gacha game, and Limbus has a great story.
Okay. See, because like, that's where I am with Arknights, right? Because I'm not even going to go as far to say with most games that I've played, but I'm like, this is good for a gacha game. I'm not a big fan of most gacha game stories, right? But Arknights for me, it's not only good for a gacha game. I think it's a good world with a good story. I genuinely do believe that.
Now that we've briefly talked about the story and the game's interesting characters,
I'm like, what is it me for?
let's look at the other mechanics that this game has to offer. First up is the gacha. Yes, this game has gambling in it, but Limbus goes one step beyond and makes their casino relevant to the plot. I said that there was only 12 playable characters in this game, and I did mean that. So what exactly are you gambling for if the game already gives you everyone to start out with? The answer is outfits. These are identities, and they are alternate versions of the centers from other universes. These identities are based off of various associations of the game's lore.
As well, sorry to keep pausing. I think as well, when you do this, it allows for better character development, doesn't it? Because you're not having this ever-expanding cast of characters. You're developing this core cast of characters, and then you can bring in alters, IDs, whatever they're called, you know, these different versions of them. I think it is an interesting way to go about it when you really want to focus on character development. And then, if they ever do, I don't know if that's ever a thing that they would do, added a new character, it would have so much more impact as well, not only to the game, but to the story as well. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a thing ever, right? But I do think it's a very interesting way to tackle it, and it allows for some real pluses when it comes to storytelling, the story itself and the world building, right? And just the interactions between the characters as well, because that's one of the weak points of a lot of gachas, right? You got your main character, and then it feels like you just have this rotating cast of characters that really don't mean anything. Like usually 1.0 feels like the mainstay, and then they last around for a few months, and then they disappear, and then it feels like each patch, you've got a new group of friends, and then they disappear, and then a new group of friends, and then they disappear, and then a new group of friends, and you never really get a proper connection with them, do you?
Characters from the story. So now we can answer questions like, what would this sexy beast look like if he was French? Some of my personal favorite identities include Bad Bitch Gregor, the Sinclair that kills himself,
Oh shit.
and Magic Bullet
shit.
Otis.
We are Charlie.
And here's my other
Bro, fucking hell, dude. Bro, what the fuck? That audio. Damn.
favorite IDs for those that are curious. The rates for these banners are pretty generous compared to most modern gachas, but there is a catch. There is no soft pity, there is no hard pity, and there is no true guarantee system.
500 cigarettes.
And when you first hear this, you might be thinking, this sounds greedy and predatory as hell. And it does. But remember how earlier I said that this company hates money. I mean that.
Say thanks!
Because if you want a 3-star unit, then you can just shard them. Or wait for the developer team to make a simple mistake, then they'll just give you one. Seriously, this is the most generous gacha game ever. They give out like a free 3-star ID every 4 months, it feels like. All because they accidentally put 2 R's in Merceau's name. Shards are another form of currency in this game that can be used in the back of the bus to get whatever character you want. For example,
I still don't understand the gacha.
Right here, I could just straight up go to the bus right now and get her, but I don't like charge units, so I'm not going to do that. Shards can be obtained by doing pulls and opening boxes that you get from the battle pass, and they're pretty easy to get, honestly. The only bit
So I have been told as well, people are like, this is probably the best battle pass in gacha as well, in terms of like return for your money, which maybe it might be worth getting the battle pass in this game. Then now I'm starting to play it a bit more, right? Because for me at the minute, Enfield's like one of the best. Like the return on investment is great. So if it's even better than that, then it's got to be pretty decent.
All this game has is getting units from the previous season because you have to wait another season for them to be available. This is my current struggle with Orifice Gregor.
But I want it now!
The other bit of FOMO is Walpurgis Knocked, which is a special event that comes around once every who knows at this point to give players a chance of limited egos and units. Unless it's a character within these restrictions, getting the unit you want really isn't that difficult. Every 3-star ID costs 400 shards, from the dog to even the cracked ones. It is all the same cost. And after playing for a while, it'll get to the point where gambling really isn't even worth it because you can just wait like 7 days, get the unit from shards, and save your pools for a character that you really want in the future. But that still won't save my child's college fund. My personal experience with the gacha has been pretty good, all things considered. Like I said, the rates are pretty generous. My first ever
What are the rates? Yeah, I missed it.
college fund. My personal experience with the gacha has been pretty good, all things considered. Like I said, the rates are
Okay, what's the rates here? So on Ego, 1.3, 000 IDs, 2.9. Okay. Individual rates 0.03. Okay, the rates are not terrible then, right? So if you did want to shard a character, like, and you were just literally doing it off pulls or something, do you get those from pulls as well? Because I really don't. I need to have like a proper gacha breakdown video for this game because I'm not sure on its nuances at all, unless he's going to explain it here. I feel like he's going to maybe gloss over it a little bit though.
pretty generous. My first ever 3-star was an announcer of a character that doesn't even show up until like 50 hours of playtime.
Yeah, you do, but
When I
mostly
got
use
this, I
boxes.
thought, wow, so it's gonna be one of those gacha games, huh? But after that, and even now, I get 3-star characters pretty consistently, and even if I don't get the character I want in like 30 to 50 pools, I can just shard them later. I already have all of the characters that were available for the season's run, and the one I don't have is one that I don't want. I really don't care for charge. I'm fully aware that luck does play a part into this, and that is a common trend I have where I'm the lucky son of a bitch in every game that isn't my fucking job. In general, as so
Rubbing salt into the wound after last night's Arknights session.
someone who has spent
Thanks, bro.
probably like
I love
$105
how Ryuku as well. Because I tweeted him because he put it up and I was like, yeah, man, living in Japan and doing this now, we got problems, man. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to come and rub salt in his fucking comment section as well.
a game that I've been playing since April, I think I've gotten a pretty good amount of 3-star units from both pools and shards. You can spend money on banners, but there is no point in wailing. Once you get a character, you've got them at the highest potential. There's no constellations or anything like that. All you got to do is level them up. So if you get 3 of these Merceaus in a banner, then all you got was 1 of those Merceaus and 100 Merceau shards. Wailing is really not necessary in this game, I promise you. All in all, the gacha is still gacha at the end of the day, but this is by far the most lenient one I've played. And I think the reason for that is because they put most of the randomness into the...
There we go.
All right, now we get to the most
well-edited video this is
about Limbus Company, the gameplay. Let me just show you one turn of combat.
It does look super complex when you see it like this, right? You're like, fuck, what's going on?
Yes, it seems like a lot, but let me break it down for you. At its core, Limbus Company's gameplay is about making sure your number is bigger than their number, but it's so much more than that. Way more than that. I've never seen a system where all you have to do is roll a bigger number than your opponent be so complicated, but I will go over the basics of the game, and I mean basics. Each character has 3 combat skills and a defense skill. These numbers down here show you how many of the skills you have, and the order that these skills appear in is random. Yes, they come down like slots. When in battle, you will select your skills and clash with an opponent.
I didn't know that. Like, obviously, I'm on the basics, but I didn't know that the skills come down random, which I really should have noticed, because thinking about it now, they do look different. I thought there was a rhyme and a reason to that, though. I didn't realize it was just purely RNG. I thought that I just didn't understand exactly why that was happening. Is there actually something to it, or is it just total RNG? Because I would imagine there would be some sort of potential control or a way to expect it, maybe? Not exactly random.
These numbers flipping around. The number in the icon is the base power of the skill, and the number above that is how much will be added on whether or not you get heads on a coin toss. Yes, a fucking coin toss. Whoever gets the lower number loses 1 coin, and this process keeps going until someone becomes a broke bitch and the winner can flex on them.
Pick a number 1 through 10.
Sign up and start enjoying
10. 10, okay. So I'm gonna flex on you 10 times. 1, 2.
If you win the clash, you gain sanity, which is this circle over here. Your sanity is what gets added or subtracted to 50 and affects your odds of the coin toss. Everyone has a base sanity value of 0, but as you win a clash and defeat enemies...
When you're at like 45, plus 45, is it like 92, 93% chance to get a heads now?
This number can increase up to 45, but if your allies die or you lose clashes, it can also decrease to values of negative 45.
Allies reduce it as allies dying reduce it as well.
Tails is never fully 100%, and trust me, you will definitely notice that. Okay, when you pick your attacks, you might spot some text that appears next to them. Hopeless, struggling, neutral, favored, and dominating. These tell you about your chances of winning said clash, but don't always believe them. I will never forget this one fight I had in Kanto 8, where my 45 SP Faust got tails on a coin flip, while the boss with negative 20 SP got heads on all 5 coin flips and nuked my whole team with 1 attack. And that your clashes are not favored or dominating, you can choose to use an ego if you have the proper amount of sin resources. Each attack has an affinity associated with them based on the 7 sins: wrath, lust, sloth, pride, envy, gluttony, and gloom. Yes, greed isn't here. I guess gluttony's fat ass ate it then got sad, so now we have depression.
I'm such a fat fucking chud.
But most newer players will just refer to them as their colors, since that's easy to remember. But don't worry, because as you play longer, these sins will become intertwined with said colors, and you'll become the coolest kid in kindergarten. Alright class, what color is this? Blue! Fools. I scoffed to myself. That's pride. If you've got the resources, you can activate an ego, which is the closest thing to an ultimate that you can use in this game. This is how you get the big numbers for clashing, and you might be asking, why didn't I just use an ego during that Kanto 8 fight? And joke's on you, because I did, but still lost. Yeah, you know what you did wrong. Keep staring at that wall. Some of the time, your egos will win, and their effects vary greatly. Seriously, these things are all over the place in terms of what they can do. Each of the sinners have their own base egos that range from Don Quixote giving back shots to blowing someone's head schmoove off, and whatever Gregor's going through.
There comes a giant fish!
But these skills
some Akira shit right there.
Egos take away sanity, so technically you can spam them if you have the resources, but they will gradually make you go insane to the point of corrosion. When normal characters go to negative 45,
okay, I remember this.
If said character does not have a special ego, aka a gacha one, they will just not be able to move for 1 turn. However, if they do have a special ego, then they corrode, turning into a fucking monster that attacks randomly on field. These animations
Oh, shit. That's fucking dope.
Look really cool, but it's also pretty annoying when your Yisang has a nasty lineup on B site, only for him to then nuke your entire team. That is the very basic principle of Limbus Company gameplay.
Dude, they can end up turning on you.
And have high sanity. But what happens when you actually hit your opponents? Once you deal damage to enemies, your equipped characters might induce some status effects onto your foes. In terms of the status effects, there's approximately a metric ton of them, so allow me to just go over the main 7. Burn. This is linked with Wrath and makes it so that enemies take a certain amount of damage at the end of every turn. These are what the cool kids use. Bleed. This damage activates every time a coin rolls. A pretty fun status condition to use on your team, but an absolute bitch and a half to go against. These are what alphas use and the same people that crush ants when they're walking. Trimmer. This makes it so that enemies get staggered easier. These are what people who are currently bored with the game use. Rupture.
Bro, these
enemies get hit, they take true damage based off of the rupture potency. This is tied to gluttony, which makes sense considering the best team takes 11 units to run. What a greedy fucking fat ass. People who run
some of the artwork's dope as well.
Ants that get crushed by bleed enjoyers.
I'm just gonna stomp you. You're gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna seal up all my cracks. You're gonna keep coming back. Why? Because you keep smelling the syrup.
Sinking. This status
is that LTG?
Enemies lose sanity as they take damage. The people that play sinking are the same players who will say this game has baby mode difficulty simply because they reduce the enemy's chance of attacking to 5%. Poise. This makes it to where your characters can crit. Typically beings with large amounts of testosterone run this. And lastly, we have charge, which improves certain skill effects. People who run this team are players that are trying to convince themselves that it's fun.
This is great. Granted, it takes some time to chew.
Team building is what makes the gameplay so addictive in my opinion. Assembling a team of quirky ideas.
Yeah, I'm still not there yet. Like, I'm just like, I put the characters who I think look cool on field at the moment.
And finding out which ones work best together based off of their descriptions.
But this artwork is fire.
Is one of the most satisfying things you can do in this game, especially when you enter the in-game mode and see your numbers stack up to 99 and watch as enemies just explode. And honestly, just in general, the game is at its most fun when you think. Coming up with a team, finding strategies to use against bosses and their mechanics is what makes this gameplay interesting, and it works really well in that aspect. When you start from nothing every fight and watch as your team slowly builds up as the battle progresses,
this is what I'm saying, like
damage numbers, more heads on coin tosses, more status effects.
Again, for me so far, I'm obviously like at a very basic understanding of the base level of the game at the moment, right? We're like early on. And obviously the early combat in most of these sort of games, it's not something that's going to cause you much difficulty at all, if any, right? So you don't really get to experience it gives you like a groundwork to start to understand stuff, and then later on, that's when it really starts to ramp up, right? But like looking at like basic scans of some of the kits and the skills, and looking at the combat and the way things work, where people, I'm like, it's considered the worst part of the game. I'm like, I suppose if you're comparing it to the so-called amazing story, which so far has been pretty dope, I can understand like people like maybe saying, well, you know, in comparison to, it probably is, but like it doesn't feel like it's an issue to me. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose we'll have to wait and see where I'm like, okay, maybe it's not fun, but as somebody who like, I don't know, it's not necessarily exactly in the same guise, but like somebody who likes turn-based games over the years, I feel like I'll probably get some enjoyment out of this, but I don't know, maybe we'll see. And especially the way he's describing it, it's like, this sounds cool, man. This sounds cool.
You can literally feel the tide shifting in the battle, and it's so satisfying. And I haven't even talked about the sound design to go along with the combat.
Yes, it's really good.
Oh my god.
It is really good. Like from an aesthetic and art style point of view, this game is fucking cool as fuck. You know, it's not just like a good looking game. It's like cool. And I mean like unironically cool. Do you know what I mean? It's got the sauce. It's got the sauce.
I have to change my underwear every time I play this game just because of the mess I end up making listening to.
I was just about to say, yo, they are glowing. What the fuck?
Bliss.
Get that off.
It's also a great rage baiting method. Ding 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding.
Could you shut the fuck up? Jesus Christ.
But it doesn't just stop with the coin flips. The attack sounds have so much weight to them. There's so much just... You feel a blood attack hit, you can tell that they use their fucking fist for that one. The voice acting in this game, stellar,
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. It is.
아니, 한 방울이라도 괜찮으니까 내게 줘. 어머니께서 여기서 자르신다 해도 나를 짓밟아 기억코 캐시와 떼어놓기.
It really is really good, isn't it?
가루 안에 담아서 어디든 지옥까지 끌고 다니며.
싱클레어.
Do it again.
싱클레어.
And the music, it goes so hard.
Yeah, there is some good music in the game as well, actually. Yeah, that goes hard. Am I gonna end up becoming a Limbus fan as well, chat? I feel like I might, you know. I honestly feel like I might.
The background music. I haven't even talked about the music that the band Millie has.
It feels
made
like
for
it's got
this
all the
whole
things
franchise,
to
going
make
back
me become
Library of
a
Ruin.
big
It's
enjoyer,
been
you know?
banger after banger after banger, bar after bar. They do not miss.
Is this where when you're playing the game you get hit by copyright claims constantly easy? Is that what's about to happen when we're playing Limbus? Claim. Or are we good? Are you good with Limbus to do that? I don't know. I do really love the vibes, though, man. I do really love the vibes. I feel you already are.
Is Limbus
What a
good
fan
game?
or
Yes. Is Limbus
getting
a great
claimed?
game? Yes. Is Limbus perfect? Fuck no. This game does a lot well, but there are some criticisms.
See right here. This is what I was talking about earlier. You can really enjoy something, be incredibly passionate, express those views on a regular basis, and not be a shill, because you can be cognizant of the negative parts of the game, but you don't have to constantly harp on those negatives to be the person who's making the game better, right? You can speak on them and move on, right? Unless they are making you not enjoy the game, and at that point, probably is time to move on, right? Literally, from the game. I was just talking about earlier what we were saying before we actually jumped into this video.
That I would like to point out. Wacky Dog is about to get serious for a second. The first criticism I want to address is the gameplay. You want to know one of the reasons why people don't really talk about Limbus? Well, aside from the absent marketing, this is probably one of the biggest reasons. Yes, I do like certain parts of the combat, and like I said, when the game encourages you to think, it is pretty fun and engaging. Having to pay attention to the boss's abilities and reading their descriptions, rather than just making sure
win rate
your
part,
number is
where
bigger.
you can just
but
win
at
rate.
the end of the day, that is mainly what matters. One of the biggest memes in the Limbus community is this little button over here called win rate. Win rate is basically auto battle. It selects your best skills that have the highest chances of winning a clash. Win rate is what most of your combat experience is going to look like, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I enjoy having to think and strategize in this game, but there's not many opportunities that warrant that unless you're fighting a major boss. Seriously, most people say that win rate can only get you to the end of Kanto 4, but that wasn't the case for me. I was able to just use win rate until like Kanto 5. Those who've played the game probably understand what happened to me.
Out of all the games, it's just one game I need you to coach.
I never did that before. But, I mean, I could try.
One time, come up with say it with me, a play. A play.
Yeah, I got you.
But even after that ass kick,
See, like, the way the rest of the game's handled as well, it seems like an unusual choice for that, right? Now, obviously, I think a game should ease you in, especially with a game that's got like a lot to it. But to be able to potentially get to like Kanto 4, 5, maybe even beyond, I don't know, depending on your account, I don't know. And not be like forced to take the reins in like a lot of the combat. It seems like an interesting decision when you look at how they seem to treat the rest of the game. Because like it, you know, in terms of like the maturity, the plot points, the dark story elements, the characters themselves, how like the characters are connected to like a lot of literature and stuff outside of the game, like in real terms that you know, you have to be a little bit sort of read. And I would imagine most people wouldn't know all of the actual characters and who they're associated to as well, right off the bat, and all of the moments in the game where it's alluding to something else. So it's weird that they would treat the combat like that early on as well. Not that you have to, right? You know, you could just go through and play it yourself, right? But it is, yeah, because like people always said that to me when I first started playing. There was just like, just win rate it, bro. What you doing? just win rate it. But I suppose it depends, like, because if you're going to be heavily focused on an interesting story, sometimes it's almost like, right, we're building a visual novel here with some light gameplay elements along the way. We don't want the gameplay to interrupt the pacing of the story, maybe. Only certain points when you've really invested, then are you going to get hit with these potential bottlenecks and blockades. Maybe that's the thinking behind it, right? Where, right, we've got this cool story. We want people to interact with it, but we don't want to get them stuck here. And then they're kind of like, fuck, and maybe get filtered, or it just really drags the story down, which is, it's one of the reasons why I really respect Arknights for it, but it's a risky one, right, of having so many filters quite early on in such a massive story, you know, like early on, like even with like TR15 with some people, you know, and there's some stages that will definitely get people like, fuck, shit, you know, even have to really invest on the characters, or like actually, you know, put a bit of effort into the gameplay, that it feels like they're not afraid to do that. But I suppose it depends like how you want to take it, right? If you really want to give people an experience, and you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I suppose how you look at the game, right?
Win rate is still
TR15.
a pretty viable option for most of the fights you'll have in this game. Thinking is fun, reading is fun, but when you have a button that clears like 75% of the content, why would I even waste my time trying to think? Win rate is an issue I have with the combat.
The main reason the first 3 cantos are so easy, the power creep and sanity buff, the max chance you roll heads on release for 75%. Okay.
But ultimately, it is my choice as the player to press said button, and I recognize this. It keeps the game casual, and it's nice to use on those days to where I just really can't be bothered to think. But I do wish this button wasn't so strong that I could clear basically every fight that isn't Millennia.
Yeah,
but like I said,
I think like it's a bit harder when it comes to gacha games. Apparently, Mongol Star Dive's got this right, a difficulty selector. That maybe in a situation like that could have an option. Do you want to play the chill version, or this where, right, we're going to ramp it up a little bit, so you're going to have to think here, and then you can choose each one where like, yeah, whatever, I'm just kind of, I want to know what happens in the next stage, fuck it, easy mode, win rate, done, you know, and then you can pick and choose. Then again, as I've said before, I am one of those players, man, that options in a video game are never a bad thing, right?
Forcing you to press win rate. There's just not a lot of instances where you shouldn't be. However, my biggest problem with the combat is that everything revolves around clashing. In order for anything to be done in Limbus, attacks have to clash. And clashing in itself is a very RNG-based gimmick. There will always be a chance of an attack rolling tails, causing you to lose, no matter if you have 45 sanity. And yes, the randomness can be exciting at points, but it can also be extremely frustrating.
Yeah. That's RNG in a nutshell, right? That's why it works so well at the same time, right, in terms of keeping people fucking hooked on the dopamine, because when you win, winning feels great, right? And winning tends to only feel great when you've experienced loss, right? If you just win all the time, you just, that's just your baseline experience, right? Or, you know, when you have you mix in a good few losses within that win feels so much sweeter. But on the other hand, that can be incredibly frustrating as well sometimes, as you know, take it out the gameplay. Just look at Gacha in general, right? You know, there's a reason why Gamba can feel good sometimes, but it can feel really bad as well. It can feel really bad.
Especially towards late game Limbus in the story, to where it can feel like if you just lose one coin toss, then your entire run is dead. Whether it be towards the end of a fight and then you just lose because they have a nuke, or at the very beginning of a fight to where you start a clash, lose neutral, and now all of your attacks are struggling, so you might as well just restart at that point. I feel like I have a higher chance of getting a 3-star in a 10 pull than I do of winning a neutral clash at numerous points in this fucking game. You should have rolled better. How about I roll my nuts on your face?
Get that ass, Ben.
Unbreakable coins. Unbreakable coins are the bane of my existence. For the uninformed, Kim Ji-hoon created unbreakable coins after being inspired by Germany's actions during World War II. This is why the coin color was chosen to be red. I rest my case. For those who don't play the game, I mentioned how if you
remember somebody showing me something about that before, man.
The enemy loses 1 coin. Unbreakable coins do not go away, meaning that if they lose the clash, the attack still goes off, but with heavily reduced damage. Now, I can live with getting hit for 4 damage. That's fine, but it's the 15 stacks of bleed that piss me off. Endgame and Mirror Dungeon. Mirror Dungeon is the endgame mode for Limbus.
I've heard that when it comes to endgame, Limbus is pretty weak. So I'm interested to see what he's got to say.
This can be accessed pretty early on, and I would argue that
Oh,
it's
shit.
at its best for new players, since it automatically levels up your units to max, giving you plenty of opportunities to try new characters.
Can I be
and see if
trying
you
this
want
out,
to
then?
actually invest in them for your normal teams. However, as you play more of Mirror Dungeon, it becomes exactly like the Squidward clip. Mirror Dungeon can be fun when you're trying new teams and seeing how far you can get your status effects to go. However, it can easily turn into a mindless win rate button simulator for an hour. Most of your Mirror Dungeon experience will likely turn into press win rate up until the last node, because there's a chance that there's a boss on the floor that might actually require some strategy. But there's also a chance that it doesn't. Mirror Dungeon can become difficult at times, which I do appreciate. But if I'm just trying to do my weeklies, I would like to have more engaging gameplay than me just pressing win rate and watching YouTube on my second monitor for an
That's
hour.
fair.
Because once you catch up to the story, this is it. Limbus Company is just Mirror Dungeon. That's all there is to do. So I just wish there was a more consistent and interesting in-game mode available. The last criticism I have is the XP
I've
farming,
heard people say it's all
primarily
of that
in the
before.
beginning. I'd say that the early game Limbus experience isn't too bad, aside from leveling up characters. These tickets are not worth jack sh. Look at this. I have a level 1 Otis, and if I give her these tickets, it takes her to level 17. And if I do the exact same thing to my level 13 Faust, it takes her to 18. Huh? Until you reach Kanto 4, Node 48. Leveling characters you have is miserable.
Node
Once you get past that,
48?
it's fine. I don't have any problems. But before that, they might as well just give me a used piece of toilet paper, and it would be just as
No, bro
helpful.
likes putting shit on the screen, doesn't he?
To wrap up this video, I would just like to reiterate that once again, I fucking love this game. Limbus Company is a great game that has a phenomenal story, interesting characters, and fun gameplay at times. The magic bullet is about to fire, dominating Clash. I swear to fucking God, if he gets heads on a -40, you will never hear the end of this. I am going! There's so many things that I haven't even talked about that just make me appreciate this game even more. Like how there
Bro
isn't
got
an
cooked.
RNG-based gear/loadout system. All you have to do is level up characters and level up their skills. That's it. Thank God. Even the small details I love,
Yeah,
like how
I
enemies
do think, like, don't get me wrong, a bit of RNG building and like having a sort of a endgame goal to achieve to like max out characters and stuff isn't always a bad thing, man. But too many games heavily rely on RNG gear building, man. It's one thing I'm really happy with Enfield's in how that system. Now, obviously, that's got the caveat of having to like artifice gear and your essences and stuff like that, but it's such a much better system. I hope more and more games start to figure out there is better ways to encourage somebody, you know, player retention, basically. There are better ways. There is definitely better. It's just easier way, right? It's an easy way to create a grind for an artificial reason for a few extra stats here and there. But there's so many better ways, man. I hope we start to see a light in this space soon and more games start to do different things, right?
pushed further back in combat depending on how strong the attack is. Your characters will swap sides during animations, and how the British people in the game spell color wrong. Ego voice lines changing.
Hey, so less of that. We made it. It's the right way, all right? Aluminum, you know? There's a reason it's called simplified English.
After completing Kantos, Heathcliff's bat even changing after completing his Kanto. But the best part is when you're done with one of the Kantos and the main center of the chapter gets to sing the outro song. It's so good. It's so good. Money.
How does that happen every,
Too bad the best one's the first one you hear. And yes, even though I have certain problems with the gameplay, I still play this game daily and enjoy my time here. This game can be extremely casual at many points, but it can also provide me with a nice challenge every now and then. But what keeps me going gameplay-wise is that I feel like Limbus respects my time, which is one of the reasons why I support this game so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And as for the community, wow.
I was the leader of a very influential group. You mean the cult? You could call it a cult, but I'd say it was more of a movement.
The PM community is definitely passionate, to say the least. I mentioned how there's basically no advertisement for this game, and that statement is mostly true until you meet a Project Moon fan, because they won't shut the fuck up about it.
Beach volleyball.
This fandom is the second generation of JoJo fans, and I mean that in many.
As long as they're not like majorly toxic, though, I like that. I like it when PM fans to be gay. I like it when someone's that passionate they like to express. Obviously, there's levels, right? Of like, all right, bro, shut up now. It depends on how they're they interact with other people though as well, right? And how respectful or toxic they are as well.
Different ways, from the brain rot to everyone claiming that insert thing is a Project Moon reference, and their media literacy skills. God forbid you're a literature teacher and have a Limbus fan in your classroom. But jokes aside, it is nice to see how dedicated these fans are to not only Limbus, but the series in general. It is a charming energy that I've spectated from the outside. Yes, I see you, sleeper agents. This game's popularity is primarily contributed to word of mouth, but what's so interesting about this game's community, to me at least, is that
the thing is though, that word of mouth's done amazing though, right? That word of mouth has done amazing. When you think about it, when you see this, you know, from a game that apparently doesn't market themselves that much, 41,000 24-hour peak, 38,000 players playing right now, and 124,000 player peak is actually insane for a gacha game on Steam. And a gacha game that's like not even considered like, and I know obviously because I think it makes less money because it's a lot more friendly in how it treats its players. But this is a game that like dwarfs stuff like Wuthering Waves, which is considered the big dog, right? It gets dwarfed by this. I think this is more than Wuthering Waves' peak, right? Or am I tripping? It might be, might not be. Yeah, it's the players right now in Limbus is almost fucking Woo's peak, which is fucking insane when you think about it. What? That's crazy. The 24-hour peak that's just gone by is bigger than Woo's entire peak. Now, granted, obviously, a lot of people are playing on the Wuthering Waves launcher themselves, which, you know, but still, it's not some. It's fucking impressive, man. When you look at it like that, a major part of that is word of mouth.
Story for how they got into it.
Son, you know, once you start, there's no going back.
I don't think I've ever met someone who just stumbled upon Limbus on the Steam or App Store. It's either they were a Project Moon fan, they saw a video or meme about the game, a friend told them about it, Roblox, or another method. I only found out about this game because of art I saw on Twitter. I saw the words Don Quixote underneath a drawing and said, huh.
Reminded that the CEO streams as a mentally ill goth girl because he thinks they're pink waifus.
She looks cute. Then I was bored one day and downloaded the game. Limbus Company means a lot to me, and I've wanted to make a video on this game since June of this year. I even ended up making a whole separate gameplay montage for this game just because of how excited I was to edit this video. There is a lot to talk about with Limbus Company, and I would love to discuss the story, shocking reveals, and incredible boss fights, but I can't in good faith do that to you viewers who might want to give this game a try, because if I spoil this for you,
nice content creator.
I would feel terrible for robbing you of such a great experience, and this game has given me plenty of those, so I hope that it can do the same for you. This is Limbus Company.
I'm looking forward to playing this game now more, like, as obviously just starting. I am really looking forward to it now because, again, it seems to be the general consensus from people. It's an amazing experience. It's a great story. It's got great characters. It's got great moments. And I'm hearing a lot of these from people who tend to agree with me most of the time on a lot of story stuff, especially within this genre and actually outside of the genre of gacha games anyway. And I know there's a lot of people who really enjoy Arknights and the story and the world that tells and rave about Limbus. So that's kind of like, okay, all right. Like high regards, you know? So that's fucking cool.
One of the best gacha games on the market right now, and one that you should definitely consider playing. Until you lose another dominating clash, fuck this game. Here's the other montage I made.
That noise is satisfying. Okay, so I think there was a problem here because when I opened this video up before I watched it, he does say he had to get it was muted because of copyright because you love to see it. So the first 8 days, we're on the 9th day, it becomes an issue for some reason. It's YouTube, bro. I get videos constantly in my email to say this video is not able to be monetized. It's like I uploaded that video 4.5 years ago. What the fuck, YouTube? So, yeah, rip to what looks like would have probably been an epic montage if the music was there. But obviously this looks fucking cool, right? So, yeah. Well, that plays out in the background because obviously there's no audio for it, really. I'm really excited to experience more of Limbus Company. So far, as somebody who's, like, gone through Canto 1, I'm in Canto 2 now, and, like, I'm really early on. I've got a really base level understanding of things. My story experience is very, very small. I'm really enjoying it so far. I think For me, the aesthetic and the art style of the game is fucking brilliant. I really, really like that. I keep saying this, but especially in the stages in the combat, it just makes me think of Dark and Darker. Or is it Darkest Dungeon, sorry? Darkest Dungeon. The voice acting is sublime. The story so far, I'm finding super interesting. The writing is really good as well. The music so far, the sound design have all been top tier, if I'm honest. I'm liking the basis of the gameplay. Obviously, I see what he's saying about like a lot of the content being win rateable, if you will. But the actual ideas around the combat, I actually kind of like, especially like some of the abnormality stuff as well. I haven't really got to a proper boss yet. So I've only done that like boss that you got at the end of the dungeon in Canto 1. So I'm genuinely excited to start like learning more about the game now. I'm looking forward to the journey actually. And we will definitely be doing a lot more Limbus over the coming weeks. We'll be doing a lot more Arknights, a lot more Limbus, and a lot more Enfield as well. They're going to be like the 3 main games that we're going to be concentrating on. We're going to be checking out NTE as well, and obviously we're playing Mongol today. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the adventure, man. It should be a good time. Yeah, guys, you probably check this dude out. Mr. Feet, great video, brilliant editing. I think he did a great job of showing off the amazing parts of the game, pointing out some of the weak parts of the game as well, which is, we'd love to see that, right? And it makes sense. This video did 500,000 freaking views and has got nearly 30,000 likes. So it was obviously received well as well. But yeah, great video.